How can heat map analytics reveal the most engaging areas within a Matterport tour? What insights can tag analytics provide about how visitors interact with Matterport tags? How can these new analytics tools help Matterport service providers add more value for clients? Stay tuned. Hi all, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Thursday, February 27th, 2025, and you're watching WGAN TV, a podcast for digital twin creators shaping the future of real estate today. We have an awesome show for you. Introduction to Matterport Captured, Heat Maps and Analytics, and Tag Analytics. Our subject matter expert from the company Foria, Captured product owner Alex Hitchcock. Alex, thanks for being on the show.
Hey Dan, thanks for having me on. Great to be here.
Alex, before we do a deep dive into today's topic, please tell our viewers about the big picture about Captured.
Captured Big Picture is essentially it's an all-in-one content management system that's been built specifically for Matterport tours or to extend the value of your Matterport tours. So we provide many overlay features within our Creator Studio, it's called, where you can add in all sorts of wonderful bells and whistles and features into your tour. But we also provide other services as well. So floor plans, photo retouching, and also a new premium virtual staging service that I'm looking forward to showcasing to you today as well.
Awesome. Why don't you tell us about it? Or would you prefer to start with heat maps?
And easy, really. We can jump into analytics first. There's some really exciting updates that we have there. So I'll just share my screen. Just let me know when you can see that. Perfect.
Yep.
Great. This is an example of a captured property. So we're based on a sort of a tab system. We can jump along into the analytics section of this specific tour. And then within analytics, we also have these sub-tabs here. So the main data tab gives a main overview of general kind of analytics data. So in the last 7 days, you can see how many page views this has, unique visitors, visits, that's kind of standard analytics data. But then scrolling down, viewing the top sources of where the tour's been accessed from, as well as the device type, the operating system, and the device size. So if that's a tablet or mobile desktop. But something else really cool that we've integrated quite recently is a breakdown of locations of visitors and viewers of the specific tour. And so this gives a world map view, and we can actually filter that and break it down by views by country, regions or state, and city level as well. So I can jump through the tabs. We can see sort of how many views have been coming through from here in the last 7 days. Now, I must say this tour has a crazy number of views the last 7 days, and that's because it's actually a lottery prize home. And so we're scanning the prize home for the company, and they're spreading that out all over their socials, and it's getting just an incredible amount of views for the past week or so. So yeah, that is quite exciting. So after the data tab, we can jump into the heat map. So this is one of the more recent features that we've built within analytics. And essentially what this does is break the scan points down automatically into the different rooms within the Matterport tour. So you can see here that each room is breaking down into a different section, and then we're getting the total views of that particular room or area in the tour. Just bear in mind as well that you can actually tweak the room boundaries with the property layout in the Matterport workshop. So you can actually draw walls to partition certain areas that you may want to do manually, but we can also provide this automatically as well. And as you can see, the labels obviously translate into the tour as well with that Alex test label, just to show you how that can show up in the heat map. And so, yeah, all of these different rooms or areas broken down into views. And so with low engagement, we have green color, and then the higher engagement, it goes from orange all the way up to red for the most viewed areas. So obviously this tour, very popular. We've got some extremely high view counts here, 428,000 views in the bedroom. in the main bedroom, and so on and so forth. So it just gives a good breakdown into how the tour is being interacted with in terms of different rooms and spaces. Up here we have a general overview of information. So the most viewed room here is actually within the hallway. I think that's where the tour starts. We've got the most popular scan point, which is the scan number 3 here, and then the average number of scan views here as well. But if we scroll down, we can actually get a breakdown into the top 10 most popular rooms, the time spent per room, and then all the different scan points as well within here. So the time spent on a specific scan and the number of views a specific scan has, broken down into percentile views of the tour as well. So yeah, you can really kind of dig in and get granular about which specific scan points are being interacted with most, and then also that room scale boundary views of analytics there. So what we've done as well is we've got it in a nice table format here, but we can also download a CSV file of all these analytics here. So that can be viewed in a CSV sheet. I can bring that up now just to kind of give you an example of what that looks like. So you can see here that this is a breakdown of kind of all these top scan points, and then you can use this table to compare against other properties if necessary as well. So yeah, it just gives a really good idea of why certain scans or sweeps or rooms have been interacted with the most, and then and able to get that kind of general overview of information to compare against other tools as well. So that's the heat map side of things.
Yeah, Alex, on the Captured website, it talks about an analytics dashboard and property metrics. Can you help me understand the difference between metrics and analytics and heat map?
Yeah, so I mean, the metrics are kind of the overall general data. So the total number of page views, the unique visitors that a tour's had, the average time spent on the virtual tour as well, along with the top sources devices. But then we can get really granular within the data into things like the heat map and tags and specific elements within the virtual tour itself.
I asked that question because all the property metrics are, you have a free tier. Captured has a free tier. And so that's the metrics are totally free as part of that free plan. Can you talk a little bit more about the heat map in terms of, okay, this is what it does. How do you envision Matterport service providers, or even in this case, the lottery, using this data to make decisions going forward? Do you have some scenarios you thought about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there could be a specific point of interest at a certain scan point, for example. It could be a wonderful ornate fireplace that is getting a lot of views within that certain tool, within that suite. And so understanding kind of how users are interacting with that and what the most popular kind of areas are, so that they can just determine what's the kind of most important things people are looking for within a specific space. Aside from a real estate example, which is this one, you could also get ideas. Let's say we have a heat map for a gallery or museum. And so customers can get really good insights about what specific artworks or pieces have been interacted with or viewed the most. So rather than just a general overview of this tool has had X number of views, you can really understand how and where people are interacting with the tool the most and kind of getting the most value and pleasure out of that experience. So yeah, there's a few different use cases for different industries, but really kind of pinpointing the specific scan points or sweeps and then rooms that are getting the most views as well.
On that CSV file where you had downloaded the data from the heat map, have you had a chance to make some conclusions from that or do something with it? Or is it just, oh, your client at the lottery found this super interesting in terms of, oh, the entire house, except for the bathrooms, people are looking at almost every inch of this house?
Yeah, it's just to sort of understand yeah, how different tours are being interacted with. For the CSV, it's more of like a comparison view against other tours that you may have within your captured dashboard and account. And so we want to give a visual breakdown here, say on this example I'm showing you now, of a breakdown of the rooms and the scan points. However, this table is great to just quickly visualize and give an overview of what's been interacted with and viewed, but kind of difficult to compare this table against other properties. And so by offering a CSV download, you can combine or merge CSVs with each other to kind of get a comparison and a breakdown of all the different properties that you're offering. And that could be, you might find differences in if you promoted the tour in a social media campaign or have advertised the tour elsewhere, to really understand the traction that tour is getting, as well as the different spaces and elements within the tour as well. So the CSV is more for being able to send that on to clients and colleagues, but then also as a sort of a foundation and base for comparison of data amongst or against other properties or scans that you have.
Mm-hmm. On the property metrics, is there a way to automate sending this to clients with a cadence so that the photographer or Matterport service provider doesn't need to physically manually mail something to a client?
Yeah, great question. So further down the tabs within the analytics, we have a reports section. So I can click on that quickly. We can click create reports, and then you can either choose to send a one-time report via email to a client or a customer or a colleague, and then you can also schedule these recurring reports, which is kind of what you were alluding to. So you can add in as many email recipients as you like. You can set the frequency of when you would like this to be sent, so weekly, fortnightly, monthly, or what day you would like that to be delivered on specifically. And then you can set a time or a date for when you'd like that report to end, or on a certain date or after a particular number of times being sent. So there's a few different options there to kind of cater with what you need to do for the reporting and automation of that. But yes, that is definitely possible.
Forgive me, I missed you on one thing under frequency. A fortnight, is that every 2 weeks?
It is indeed. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else on heat map that you want to show us, or are you ready to move on to tags?
Yeah, I think the heat map, I've kind of gone over the most of kind of the value that feature provides. Just providing a breakdown within the rooms. I think I didn't mention as well that you can also click within a certain specific area or a certain sweep point within the tour that will give you that visualization of that data within the map itself. So rather than referring to the table below, all of these numbered circles are the sweep or the scan points that the Matterport the person scanning with the Matterport camera has taken. So you can actually hover over 31, for example, and give that a click, and that will tell you the exact number of views within that time as well. So yeah, that's just something else I wanted to add on. But yeah, I think that's kind of it as an overview for the heat map. We're really excied about the feature. I think it's going to provide a lot of value across.
I know it's relatively new. Have you had early feedback on it from clients?
Yeah, we've had feedback. Yeah, people are finding it really, really useful to kind of get that in-depth data from the tour rather than just kind of a general overview of views, getting really, really specific into the rooms and sweeps. So it's definitely something that our customers are finding useful across multiple industries, real estate, and the kind of museum, gallery, tourism spaces as well, particularly.
Okay, awesome. Tag analytics.
Yes, so with tags, just going to bring up another tour here. So I can jump over to, I can jump back into the analytics tab. And so, yeah, next to heat map, we have the tags tab as well. So we can click on that. And this gives you an overview of the tag interactions on both Matter tags and also captured tags that have been created within the tour. And so
I'm sorry, here, could you clarify there? I think I heard there are two different types of tags that you're keeping track of. So Matterport,
correct.
Matter tags, or any tags that are added within the Matterport workshop space.
Exactly. So any tags that are added within the actual Matterport workshop itself we can track opens and views for meta tags, for native meta tags, but then any captured tags that have been created in our Captured Creator Studio, which is kind of where all the overlay magic happens, we also provide tracking for those as well. So yeah, both meta tags and captured tags we can provide data for.
Would you mind taking us into an example Matterport tour powered by Captured, where you can show us examples of, I would call it media-rich tags that can be added?
Yes.
So not the back-end dashboard, but an actual tour. So when you're referring to a captured created tour in a captured created tag in Captured, forgive me, I want to say Captured Studio.
Yes, the Captured Creator Studio.
Creator Studio. Yeah, forgive me. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, so just in this example here, we do have a bunch of meta tags within this property that's pretty meta tag rich, as you can see. But then just jumping into the lounge area here on the TV, this is a captured tag. So this is an example of a captured tag. I was using this to kind of test with yesterday and set this up, so I haven't put too much rich information in. However, I do love my chess, and so there is an embedded video of Magnus Carlsen's fastest win ever in here. So that means that clicking on the URL link or the YouTube thumbnail will register a review of that content within that tag. And so you can open up captured tags to get not only the view of the tag, so when either the tag is clicked or hovered on, depending what setting you have to open the billboard, it registers that, but
I may have done you a disservice on that tag because, or that use case, because with Captured, you could actually put a video screen up on that wall and have it play natively within the Captured environment.
Absolutely. So that's one of our features from the Creator Studio, which is the media embed. So you can place a video or an image on the mesh anywhere in the Matterport model. So on the walls, the ceiling, the floor, that wouldn't be contained within a tag. At the moment, we don't have analytical data for the media embedded images or videos. But if you are placing that within a tag, then we are able to track that with captured tags. So there's a slight difference in the features there. But ultimately, we see analytics.
So in that just in this small example, that if you wanted a video to play within the Matterport tour, you could do it by adding it with a captured tag, or you could add it within the Captured Creator Studio to literally put a metaphorically speaking, a TV set up on that wall, and it would just play full screen when you tap it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely possible. So you could scale a video onto this blank TV at the moment. The TV was obviously scanned while it was off, but then you can scale a media video over the top of that to be viewed. That can autoplay when the user walks into the room or when they load the tour, or they can manually start it with the play button. Okay. So that's definitely an option as well.
Before we move to the back end to look at the tag analytics, are there any other captured tags, captured created tags in this space that you wanted to point out for some reason?
No, so just this tag within the TV at the moment. So that tag placed on here. All of the others are native meta tags. So all of these have been created.
I'm curious. Do you have clients that actually create some tags in Matterport and some tags in Captured?
Yeah, absolutely. The tags in Matterport and Captured kind of fulfill some different purposes. The captured tags are kind of focused more on custom branding. So within the captured tags, you can customize the color of the billboard that pops up, the modal, or the color of the text within the tour, or even like a custom icon upload. So that could be a company logo, a custom company logo, or favicon or icon on the captured tag. So there's a little bit more bespoke branding that you can add into captured tags as opposed to meta tags. So there's kind of differences for both. I guess the use of the meta tags is that you can then have kind of an image gallery of multiple images as like a gallery carousel. So there's kind of different use cases for different tags. So we do have some clients who kind of have each within the tool, depending on what
I
their
know I
use
may
case
be a
is.
little bit off topic here, but I would say, one of the interesting things about captured tags is you can put iframe into them.
Yes, so you can embed websites also into captured tags. So yeah, you can embed websites into there if the website security privacy settings allow the website to be
Yeah.
embedded.
I was thinking even beyond a website, though. I suppose that's interesting in itself. Just if somebody wanted to have a shopping of all those things that are in that living room area, that it would be possible to tap on a tag created by Captured with the iframe that literally has a shopping mechanism to go buy that item.
Absolutely.
Forgive me, a little bit off topic, but I think of Captured uh, tags is being pretty media rich, sophisticated, giving you a lot of variations of what it is that you can do with them, uh, perhaps somewhat beyond what you can do with a Matterport created tag.
Correct. Yeah, there's definitely some advantages in terms of bespoke branding and customization for captured tags compared with meta tags, for sure.
So forgive me, you were taking us to the back end to take a look at the tag analytics.
Yeah, absolutely. So after I've shown you the captured tag with the Magnus Carlsen win in there, so we can jump back into the back end of this property. And so if we jump into the analytics tab again, and then we have the tags tab right here. So this will just give a breakdown of the last 7 days of data. So you can kind of filter the date range as to what you want to show. And then it will give a breakdown here of the number of tag interactions across all captured tags and meta tags, and then also the amount of content clicks within the tags as well. So one thing that is quite important to note is that currently we aren't recording content clicks, so anything integrated within a tag for meta tags. Currently, that's only the clicks on the actual meta tag itself and the opens of the meta tag. So unfortunately, at the moment, we can't provide the content clicks. However, that is another advantage to using captured tags because we can record content clicks within captured tags. So as you can see here within this table, we have the title, the captured tag here, with the number of opens it's had, and then the number of content clicks it's had within that video itself. And a cool thing about this as well is within the table, you can actually click view, just take you straight to where that tag is located within the property. So if you're viewing this table and you're not quite sure where that tag is placed, if you're kind of using viewing the tour in this format, you can click view. And then that hyperlink will essentially load the tour up and take you exactly to where that specific tag is located. So for me, I click that captured tag, and so it's taken me directly there. And then that is the case for all other tags, meta tags and captured tags within this table, this analytics table. So if we want to jump to the seller, it'll take us directly there as well. So it's just a really good way to familiarize yourself with where the tags are placed, and get an idea of where they are, as well as tracking the view counts as well within there. So this will guide us.
So looking at the subscription plans for Captured, I do see that Property Metrics is included in the free plan, and obviously the analytics dashboard. Are tag analytics included in the free plan, or do you need to be on a paid tier of Captured?
No, so all these analytics are actually under our free plan tier. So yeah, really good opportunity if you haven't signed up to Captured yet to sign up and have a go with a free account using these different analytics. So yeah, they're very applicable to a wide range of industries.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to say, if because there is a special offer for WGAN viewers. Receive $90 in Captured credits in your first 30 days when you create a free Captured account using the WGAN affiliate link wgan.info/captured. That's spelled CAPTUR3D. and that'll take you to the Captured website. You can set up a free account, but also automatically have 90 credits, which you can use on creating floor plans, for example, or ordering other services on a what would you call that? Matterport services on demand, such as photo retouching or Matterport Workshop Assistant that we'll talk about, I think, today as well. Is there anything else to show us on Captured Tag Analytics?
Just something to note as well, we do also offer the CSV download option as well. So you can download all this data and get an idea of, the name of the tag, the number of opens, content clicks, etc. So this is CSV based as well. Just to make it easier to compare and contrast and provide to clients and colleagues if needed.
And what do you feel that the either the use cases or that clients are telling you, either presumably this feature was created because you were getting asked for it. What was it that clients wanted to be? What would they do with this tag analytics information? Why is it interesting?
I think again, it just gives a more granular, specific insight into the content within tours itself. So as I said before, kind of getting an overview of analytics of general views that the tours had is great. But people want to really dive in to see how specific elements in the tour are being interacted with. So how tags are getting clicked, comparing and contrasting tag clicks against other tags and understanding understanding why there might be a difference in the number of clicks within there. Also experimenting with doing sort of A/B testing in a way. So if I put this icon on a tag, will it get more views than this tag that doesn't have that particular icon? So being able to kind of compare and contrast and get really granular about how and where these views are occurring. It just gives more specific insights into the tours. Who's interacting with what within the tour is pretty important.
Okay, cool. Virtual staging.
Yes, this is a really exciting one. So we do offer a few different virtual staging options. One of the options is within our Creator Studio, and that's a kind of DIY, do-it-yourself virtual staging builder. So we have a bunch of, I can actually maybe just jump in quickly to show you this option. So we have a bunch of virtual staging assets that we've optimized for tour performance. So there's a few hundred assets within here. This is our Creator Studio, by the way. Again, based on this tab system, we can jump into staging at the top. And so we do have a bunch of supplied assets in-house focused on commercial and residential real estate. And all these assets have been optimized to ensure tour performance across multiple devices. We've also partnered with Sketchfab. For those who don't know, they're probably the world's largest 3D asset library online. Excuse me.
There's something like 700,000, 800,000 additional objects to add to your library that you could add into your tour.
Yeah, that was a few years ago, so it's close to 1 million now. And you can find all sorts of wacky and wonderful things within Sketchfab. I'll click on that icon. You can see as I'm scrolling down, you can pretty much find anything that you're looking for that transcends, residential and commercial real estate. It's really great for museums, galleries, tourism, all that stuff as well. But just to note as well that these assets haven't been optimized by us. So some are fantastic, incredible assets, but some are very, very heavy as well. But you can find some awesome assets in here that are animated as well and add movement into the tour, which can be really, really useful.
All right. So forgive me, I distracted you a little bit here. So I think the big picture interesting is for years now within Captured Creator Studio, there's always been this DIY solution for virtual staging. Now, what's new?
Now we've amped it up a little bit. So we've taken on feedback from customers who they've found the DIY staging useful, although some people might be quite time poor to be able to do that. They don't want to they want to stage the property themselves. And then also the quality of assets within the tour can sometimes be quite challenging, especially when you have a lot of 3D assets in there. It can slow down the tour on some older hardware devices like iPhone 10s, for example. With a lot of assets, sometimes the tour performance can struggle. And so what we've been working on recently is being able to integrate very, very high quality rendered furniture into virtual tours that don't affect tour performance whatsoever and provide really hyper realistic furniture into the Matterport tours. And so this new premium option is service based. So it's not something that you can do within the Creator Studio itself. It's an order that you need to place through Captured, and we can deliver that back to you, usually in around 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
So
Show us some examples and we'll talk some more about it.
I'd love to. So let's jump onto here. First of all, I'll just show you the example that I'm going to be using. So this property has been scanned completely empty. So an unfurnished apartment, not too much going on here. But yeah, just a lot of blank spaces and rooms that kind of really don't provide an insight into how the property can look furnished and staged, obviously. And so within here, this is one of the options that we have. So all of this furniture within this tour has been virtually staged and rendered into the tour. So I'll just walk over here. I'll zoom into this sofa as well. It's just extremely realistic and doesn't slow down the tour whatsoever at all. I can walk into the bedroom as well. Whoops, my zoom's going a bit crazy there. So yeah, every single piece of furniture in here has obviously been integrated by us, and really trying to get those levels of details down to the creases in the bed throws and making it look as realistic as possible. And so yeah, for anyone looking for a premium example for virtual staging, this is a really good way to go. There's a couple more examples of the same property as well, so I can jump into this one. As you can see, something really cool as well, like we do pay attention to a lot of details. So this TV, obviously not real, but we've also, and this vase and plant, not real, but we've integrated the reflections within the TV to kind of make that as realistic as possible to users. So definitely like little elements and touches that we are using to provide as much realism as possible within this format of virtual staging. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. And then just one more example as well here. This might be my favorite. Yeah, again, the same property staged in a different version. I love this wood grain table. It's just so realistic. You can zoom in and really pick up on all that incredible detail within here. So yeah, this is kind of a newer premium option for virtual staging. And as I mentioned before, it's kind of a service-based order that you can place with us for this deliverable.
I know you were kind enough to send 3 examples to me prior to the show, and I did have to do a double take about, I thought you were sending me virtually staged examples as opposed to units that were fully beautifully furnished. And there were a couple things, and frankly, you pointed them out. One is I'm looking at the TV set, looking at the reflection of the lighting, the vase, the plant in the TV set. It really looks exactly like it was real. And I did pick up on the creases too. On the bedspread, I went, oh, well, this is interesting. This is that I get, if in my mind the metaphor would be, oh, AI voices that are doing podcasts. Oh, they actually say and in order to make it a little bit more realistic. But I was looking, oh, look at all these creases in here. It's not perfect. It's what it would look naturally if it was a photographer came in and shot it, even though it was nicely staged. It'd have wrinkles in it. So anyway, that was my takeaway, that I couldn't tell the difference between whether this was real or not real. So congratulations to Captured on that. So I want to order it. How long does it take to get it back?
So it really depends on the size of the model. This will go off to one of our designers who will render in all of the furniture. And so usually a turnaround time of around 48 hours, let's say, on average. And yeah, at the moment, we haven't built this order form into the Captured dashboard, but you can get in touch with our support team or me directly, and I'm more than happy to kind of guide you through that process and how that deliverable will work. We do provide a 3D asset library with groups of furniture and different styles, so you can just pick whatever style that you need, or even individual furniture within each kind of style catalog, so you can get exactly what you need going forward. And so something to note as well, just in terms of pricing for this. So it's $22.50 US per panorama or sweep or scan point. So what I would thoroughly recommend is, oftentimes when you're scanning a property, you might overscan with a few sweep or scan points that aren't necessarily required. So what we can do, and I'm more than happy to work with anyone who's interested to kind of simplify and break down the scan into the minimum number of sweep or scan points that's needed, just to kind of keep those budget constraints down, if you do have some, and just making sure that, all the panoramas that have been virtually staged are necessary.
So, Alex, for clarification, I saw 3 scan points there. Well, actually, there was 4. One that I can't see because it's at the bottom of my feet. So each of those scan points is $22.
Yes, exactly. But there are some examples in here that maybe aren't necessarily needed, so you can kind of break these down even more and remove certain sweep or scan points, if you want to kind of keep the budget down.
Is that at the photographer level of hiding the scans prior to placing an order, or is that just some direction to say please limit it to 3 or 4 scan points, or is the challenge and then they have to hide the scans that are not being staged?
Yes, correct. So we can kind of work together on that. I think some Matterport users are very well versed in what panoramas or sweep or scan points are required. For example, this one here where my cursor is will take you straight into that bedroom. So this is kind of a sweep or a scan point that kind of needs to stay in order to navigate around the property effectively. So more than happy for our team to work with whoever's interested on any scan points that are necessary, are not needed, and we're happy to kind of give advice on that as well to come to a point where customers happy with the scan points they're including. So it's not something that they have to do manually or themselves. Okay. We can kind of give them a suggestion.
Do you prefer that the photographer, the client, leave it up to the virtual stager? Is it more, no, pick out a palette of furniture that you like, and that furniture style will be used to furnish the space?
It's all of the above. So it really depends on each individual customer requirement. Some people might not have the time and say, I trust you, I want something similar to maybe the furniture we have in here. In that case, we can go ahead and run with it. Or other customers might want to be able to choose from the catalog. So we're happy to be flexible on that. But we can provide a furniture catalog that they can view to select the furniture they want if they want to. Okay. Otherwise, we can do it for them.
How does this fit into the Matterport declutter feature, where the apartment or house is totally furnished? It's obviously a train wreck. So the Matterport service provider hits defurnish. Can you pick it up from there?
Yeah, that's a great comment, and you beat me to it. So this is a fantastic way to combine the Matterport defurnish feature with this additional virtual staging, premium virtual staging feature. So obviously in Matterport Workshop, you can declutter a messy property to get that completely empty and unfurnished, and then we can then go in as an additional service to then virtually stage all of the furniture within here. So it works extremely well with the declutter tool. So you're able to kind of get rid of any mess and then add in all the premium furniture that you'd like.
Now, I could imagine at some point Matterport will offer declutter by room, that said, or object. But today, declutter is either all or none. Is it possible for Captured to virtually stage a furnished space where you're being asked to declutter a specific room and stage that room?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we do provide decluttering services as well as these virtual staging services. Decluttering is actually a little bit more expensive. It's $27 per panorama. And to be honest, it's, if people need it for individual rooms, then fantastic. But there is obviously the Matterport defurnish feature there now that offers that. But we can provide decluttering for certain rooms or areas and then provide the virtual staging on top. That's something we can do, but it's quite expensive. And
I'm
yeah,
a little
obviously
bit confused on the $27. Is that $27 on top of the $22? Or no, it
it
includes,
is.
yeah. So
It
it's
is, yeah,
27 to declutter. Is that per scan point or per room?
per scan point. Yeah, per
Per
scan point.
scan
So
point.
it
Yep.
takes a little bit of extra work on top to remove furniture and declutter them with our designers, which is why it's slightly more expensive. It takes a bit longer. So yeah, decluttering and then virtual staging would be two separate prices.
Yes, but I mean, it's good to know because certainly I've been in spaces where, oh, the house is beautiful, and then you come into well, this is where the room where everything has been piled to, but they still want to show that room, but it can't be shown with a ginormous pile. So at least there is a way to solve that puzzle. And then I would imagine if you're only working to declutter one room, that when you walk from, let's call it real to virtually staged, that if you turn around and look, it's going to be different.
Correct. Yeah. So there's obviously going to be consistency in the viewpoint that you have between panoramas that are in line of sight. So that just really, again, depends on the specific use case, whether you want to keep that consistency to ensure it's consistent while you're moving around, or not. So again, it's really up to kind of each individual use case and what the customer requires.
Alex, would you anticipate that there might be a time where, let's say there are, let's just simplify it, there are two scan points in a room, but I only want one scan point virtually staged because I want to be able to show the before and after, or here's the room empty, here's the room staged. Do you anticipate that would happen? Is that something that's possible, or no, you really have to virtually stage every scan point in a space?
It's a really good question because it's going to be project specific as well. The reason being is that when we're integrating the virtually staged panoramas back into Matterport, there obviously needs to be alignments within the panoramas and putting that the model together. So there have been a couple of occasions, it's not very common, but there have been a couple of occasions where the stitching wasn't possible to kind of generate the model for Matterport. And so it's a really good question, but it's project specific. So having an unstaged panorama with a virtually staged panorama and trying to fix those together, the Matterport system sometimes is like, whoa, what's going on here? This isn't the same. I can't reference the exact room because they're different. And so that's probably something to watch out for. I don't want to give an absolute no or an absolute yes. I think it's specific to each scan and each project.
Okay.
But we can definitely do whatever we can to try and help with whatever the customer needs.
Yes. So new Captured is offering virtual staging as a service. So there's now two ways to virtually stage with Captured, either as a service and the do-it-yourself option in the Captured Creator Studio. Is there anything else on virtual staging before we move on?
I think we've covered everything, really. Yeah, I think we've covered everything. But for those who are interested, as I mentioned, we don't have it that order process or workflow on our dashboard yet. It's a very new service that we're offering. So whoever's interested, please get in touch with our support team or myself directly. And yeah, we can kind of guide you through the process and answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Was there some other services of Captured that are new that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, so I think I stopped sharing my screen, didn't I? I can share it again.
I took you off sharing. Forgive me.
Oh, okay. No worries at all. Hosting fees is another one we can touch upon. So let me get back into the platform. And so within the Captured dashboard up here, we have an option to select hosting fees. And what this means is you can essentially set up automated payments to your clients or customers for each individual Matterport model that they have. And so you can send over Stripe invoices or payments, recurring payments on a monthly or annual basis, depending on how you're charging your customers for hosting fees. And it's just a really, really great way to kind of automate that process so you don't have to stay on top of it. Some people have hundreds of tours that they're sending out hosting fees for. And this is a really good way to kind of consolidate and automate that process. And so, sorry, go on.
Forgive me. I was going to take you off sharing if there was, was there something you wanted to show?
Well, I can just generally kind of show you how it works as an overview. So you can set up a new hosting payment via this button here, provide a property name and the Matterport model, select the customer that you have. You can also add a new one in there if you're setting this up for the first time, a payment description that your client would receive when receiving the invoice, and then you can set the first billing date, last billing date, obviously the currency. This is an international platform and an international feature. And you can also set tax rates within here as well. So you can add different types of tax rates depending on what country that you're in and what you need to adhere to. So that is just kind of just a general overview. All the different tax rates are set up in here, all of your payments within here that are kind of active. But yeah, for anyone who's having issues or frustrations with the amount of hosting fees that they're providing to their customers, that's just a really good feature to enable to stay on top of that.
And I want to say that's part of your free service.
It is indeed. Yeah. So there's a lot of free features that we offer. So yeah, it's kind of you can sign up to Captured, completely for free and have those features, analytics, hosting fees, and general kind of basic branding overlays within your tour as well.
Yeah, I know in the We Get Around Network forum, there are often discussions about should I only charge for the capturing phase? I haven't figured out how to charge on a monthly recurring basis or on an annual basis for hosting. And so you actually Captured solves that puzzle for service providers that have a need to bill on a monthly basis or an annual basis, but haven't figured out in their existing billing invoicing system how to do that, or if they're not using a platform that facilitates this, then they're generating manual bills, and that's a lot of energy and effort, which can be on a small charge. So now with Captured, and I want to get the name of the service right, it's Captured Hosting Fees. With the Captured Hosting Fees, you can charge monthly, you can charge annually, and you can do it per model.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think this is pretty cool. So Captured actually has 4 subscription packages: free, starter, creator, and pro. And in the free, you can get the analytics that Alex was talking about earlier, the tag analytics, and this hosting fee feature just simply by signing up for a always free account, which actually comes with some basic overlays. We haven't even talked about all that. Alex, in addition to the hosting fees, was there some other new feature of Captured that's either just came out or is about to come out that you want to talk about?
A relatively new feature that we have is just an option for expedited floor plans. And so our floor plans on Captured are very, very popular. We've recently revamped the order page for that to provide a whole new range of templates, designs for your floor plan. But now you can also check a box to get expedited orders back within 8 hours. And so that was something that a lot of customers were requesting as well. And so, yeah, we've built that into the order form as well, just to allow for those expedited options. It's Alex, additional 4 credits.
Could you share your screen again? Take us into floor plans. I think of this as floor plans as one of the pillars of Captured. You've been offering floor plans since the beginning of time, and there's lots of options. Could you perhaps, rather than maybe in the back end, but take us into the maybe front end or to your website where you have sample examples of the different kinds of floor plans that are possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can maybe just quickly take you through the order page, because that will have kind of an overview of different designs that we now offer. We've kind of made the order page much more visual and updated that in the last couple of months. And so if I press plus new in floor plan to generate an order, one option now is that you can actually connect your Captured and Matterport accounts together. So any public or unlisted models that are set in your Matterport account, there's the option to automatically migrate them into your Captured dashboard just for easy ordering. So you're not having to switch between the Matterport workshop or system and then Captured as well. Like all of the models that you may need are in here. So you can either search for one of these existing properties, for example, and that will generate the Matterport URL. We can go forward. Oops. Let's see. So we can click next. So these are some of our different templates that we now offer, these visual templates. Hopefully you can see those okay. I might zoom into my screen a bit just to make that a bit easier for those at home to see. But we do have multiple 2D and 3D options and different designs. Lots of different customized options as well. So we can click through these tabs. Any custom floor plans that have been uploaded can sit into here as well. So you can add in anything you want into custom floor plan designs and save them within your Captured account. As this example has, there may be QR codes, there may be a whole different range of features that you want. It might be a Realtor headshot, for example.
Alex,
and so
could you take us into a 3D floor plan? I think on the 2D, it's relatively straightforward in terms of you can get them black and white, you can get them color, you can specify the colors. The 3D, though, maybe do you have an enlarged example? Maybe if we are you able to zoom in further on that, or maybe just
I can do. All right, I can try and zoom in, or if not, we can jump into.
Even on the Captured website for floor plans, maybe if you could just go to the main site of Captured and then go to your pricing page and then scroll down to the floor plan option. So we're going to go move through the pricing, get down to the floor plans, and on that plus button. If you
do, but I may have a few better examples that I might have within my computer. Bear with me a second, sorry.
So while Alex is searching, as a reminder that you can receive a $90 in Captured credits in your first 30 days when you create a free Captured account using the WGAN affiliate link, wgan.info/captured3d. Alex, you find something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I'm just finding a couple of things. Where are we? Let's have a quick look. Okay, so I've got a few different examples here that I can share with you guys. This is something that we've offered for quite a while, but let me know if you can see my screen okay.
Yeah, that's an awesome example of a 3D floor plan. Can you talk some more about what we're looking at? And
yeah, absolutely. So we offer a few different examples for 3D designs. So this being one of them, we also have kind of more of a top view, down view within here as well. And so we can provide floor plan interiors and kind of imitate the furniture that's within the tour as well. So if that's carpeted floors, hardwood floors, just giving a bit more information into the texture that appears within the tours as well. And then we can also provide site plans. So although the site plans are 2D, we found it's probably usually a better way to represent those. And so we use all sorts of data sets such as Google satellite imagery, obviously the exterior scans or 360 views if you're taking with a Pro 3 or Pro 2 of the property to deliver those, to deliver that site plan as accurately as possible. And then, yeah, with the 3D plan, as I mentioned, we can kind of optimize that so we can add in specific furniture to showcase what kind of room it is and for different fixtures and fittings as well that need to be in there. So yeah, it can kind of give a little bit more information as opposed to a 2D plan.
Okay, and looking at the 3D plan and the site plan, and can you just give us some idea of cost, turnaround time, what the deliverables are, how much flexibility there is on features?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of turnaround time, 12 to 24 hours. It's usually closer to 12, to be honest. But depending on the size of the model and the property, it can extend slightly. And as I mentioned, we do have those expedited options. The floor plan is 16 credits. So we work on a credit system for any services that we offer. So floor plans, photo retouching, premium virtual staging.
A credit I should think of as a US dollar.
One credit equals $1.
So what do I get for $16?
So for $16, you can get a 3D floor plan. And we are actually currently providing buy one, get one free. If you order a 3D floor plan, you'll get the 2D floor plan for the same property free of charge. So we're delivering those multiple deliverables and samples back to you for each property. So
that site plan as well?
It does indeed. So the site plan is no additional cost. So you can choose whether you'd like the deliverable to have a site plan or not, depending on your choice. But it's $16, 16 credits, 16 US dollars for that deliverable. There is the other expedited option. If you need that turned around really, really quickly, we can provide that for an additional 4 credits. And it's also probably worth saying, because for those who are kind of turning over a high volume of floor plans, we do offer credit bundles as well, where you can save anywhere between 10% to 30% off those credit bundles, and therefore kind of dropping the price of each credit.
Yes, I understand why you're speaking in credits, and it's easy to quickly be able to say, one credit equals $1, that's $16. Okay, totally get it. But if you're doing any kind of volume at all, it's possible to save 30% on top of that simply by buying a bundle of credits ahead of time. And depending on your volume, you can save anywhere from 10 to 30% on those bundles of credits. So what would be just how many credits is a 2D floor plan?
So it's the same amount. It's 16 credits. So it's just a blanket cost, whether it's 2D or 3D.
So is there any reason not to order the 3D and get the 2D and to get the site plan, or is it just a matter of turnaround? It takes a little more time to turn around the 3D model and the 2D floor plan altogether.
That's exactly it. So if you're exactly correct. So it's probably worth ordering the 3D because you're going to get the 2D back as well anyway. But that will stretch out the delivery time, the turnaround time somewhat, but we'll still be under the 24-hour mark. The only exception to that is the size of the model. And so no matter what the size of the floor plan, it's also a blanket cost, flat rate cost of 16 credits, but the larger models may take slightly longer to turn around, especially if you're ordering 3D for very large models. But we can definitely provide that. It just might take a little bit longer.
So is this in addition? Is the 3D available both for residential and commercial spaces?
Yes, correct. Yeah, residential and commercial.
And the site plan. So all really your client needs to provide, a Matterport service provider, for example, is to provide the address for the property. And if you're being pretty good about your organization in your Matterport workshop, or let's talk about capturing, and you set up the model name and you put the property address in, and then you sync your Matterport account with Captured, it's automatically going to suck that information in. So it's super easy actually just to pick and place your order. Captured would already have the address, be able to go off to Google Satellite Maps, Google Maps, in order to figure out how to draw the site plan.
Exactly. Yeah, we usually get pretty accurate with that. Obviously, the more information that the customer can provide, that might be drone shots. Satellite imagery isn't always 100% up to date. So any additional information, customers can upload files and provide notes just to make sure that we can get exactly what they need the first time around.
And the customization, if I want to add a client logo, if I want a specific disclaimer, I have a client has a specific color palette. Is that type of thing that Captured can handle?
Absolutely. So we can provide completely custom designs, and it's a really important thing. Obviously, you want to be as quickly as possible ordering floor plans, and so you can save your custom templates. You can have as many custom templates as you like. That might be for the different clients that you're servicing, or with their individual logo and branding. We can also produce floor plans based off brand designs that the client may already have. So we can replicate those as well to just adhere to brand guidelines. And you can have them all saved in your Captured account. So it's really easy to jump on, place an order. your templates are saved. You can choose which client you want, and then go from there. So we want to try and make it as quick and easy as possible for you to order those custom
And
plans.
does Captured have templates in the library if you don't want to even think about creating a custom template for a client, different examples of styles?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of those designs and samples are in the order page. So they're kind of broken down into the different tabs I was showing before, 2D or 3D or the custom designs. And so we offer around 10 to 15 templates that you can choose from, or you can upload your own as well. So yeah, lots of options.
Anything else to describe in terms, I mean, it sounds like the deal of a century for 16 credits, and frankly less if you're doing any sort of volume, and you're getting it back typically in 12 to 24 hours, but closer to 12 hours. And if you actually absolutely need to have it in 8 hours, you can have it for another 4 credits. Total seems like total customization possible in terms of the look, feel, style of the floor plan. Is there anything to add in this category of floor plans?
I'd just say if you haven't ordered a floor plan yet from Captured, definitely give it a go. I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised. It's excellent value. And also, if you're signing up via the We Get Around link as well, you'll get $90 worth of free credit. So that's about 5 floor plans, give or take, completely for free. So if you haven't tried Captured floor plans yet, I definitely recommend it. You won't be disappointed. They're great value and yeah, provide a lot of features and customization.
Yeah. That link again, wgan.info/captured3D. Alex, I would just add a tip in here. You know, for a Matterport service provider, client, orders floor plan, you deliver it, it's color floor plan, client's very happy. I would say start thinking about ordering the 3D floor plans automatically. Get the 2D, deliver it to the client. That's what the client wanted. That's what the client expected. But be able to say, hey, oh, by the way, I can, if you'd like, here's a no charge for a 3D version of the floor plan. If you like that going forward, I charge X. So it's possible to add that for a Matterport service provider to offer that as a upsell going forward. And I think you have just because Captured charges you the same amount for 2D or 3D doesn't mean as a service provider you can't charge more, because that looks like it's got way more value in it as a 3D floor plan as a 2D floor plan. And client might actually agree with you and say, yeah, I like that. How much do you offer that? So, order the 3D plan, deliver to the client what they were expecting, the 2D black and white or color, whatever it was, their colors, their logo, etc. But use that as an opportunity to see if you can upsell your client. And if you're not, even if you like your client pays you enough, you're totally happy, you just want happy clients, just offer it as another service to say, hey, no extra charge, just want to help you sell that property or win your next listing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to win new clients and keep existing clients happy. So yeah, I definitely recommend giving it a go.
So we mentioned this $90 credits, and there's a couple other a la carte services that Captured offers. Could you touch on your photo retouching, and then also the Matterport Workshop Assistant, what that is?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll start with the Workshop Assistant. So the Workshop Assistant is essentially the post-production that we offer on a Matterport model. So people who are time poor, that don't have the time to extract the images from the Matterport Workshop. Obviously, Matterport does provide default snapshots, but they're not always fantastic. And so many people are taking them manually, those snapshots. What we can do is offer that to you as a service. So we can either extract all the photos as snapshots from a property and collate a beautiful marketing package of photos that you can then send off to clients and whoever you need to, or we can build out the sort of the video style walkthrough of a property in a Matterport model. So sort of chronologically, for example, starting at the front door of a property and walking into each room in that video style that I'm sure many of you have seen before. So there's a couple of different options there for us to do that all for you. So all you need to do is scan the property, upload it, and place an order in Captured, and then everything's kind of delivered back to you as that kind of as that package. virtual tour photos, and then also floor plans as well. And then
Uh,
from that as well, we sorry,
and
go on.
before you move on, and hiding scans, because if you tend to overscan a space to make sure for whatever reason that you going through that door jam and it took you 3 or 5 scans to do it, but you don't necessarily want to have all those scans displayed. So Matterport Workshop, you're hiding some of those scans. Your Matterport Workshop assistant sounds like can do 3 or 4 different things for you, which include uh, 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 getting better snapshots out of the tour if that's helpful to you, creating a highlight reel, hiding scans. Anything else that assistant will do for you?
Yeah, so it's really the walkthrough and the extraction of like high quality photos from the best angles, and then obviously the hiding of the sweeps as well to create the most seamless path
Yeah,
through
and
the
deal of a
virtual tour.
century, that's 10 credits. And again, if you're doing any kind of volume with Matterport and time is money, that could be as low as 7 credits.
Exactly, with the credit bundle. So yeah, so that's the post-production Matterport assistant side.
All
And
right,
then we also offer photo retouching.
let's finish up on the photo retouching. Yeah.
Yeah, so after you have those snapshots back from Matterport, you can also upload your own if you've taken them yourself. But we do offer a photo retouching service where it's 1 credit per photo, and we can essentially retouch as you need and require. So each photo you can leave notes of what you may need. That could be decluttering, it could be day to dusk retouching on an exterior photo, it could be object removal, clutter removal, things like that, or it could just be general color enhancements. And so, the photos that are extracted from Matterport, fantastic, but they're not kind of retouched. And so we do offer that as an additional service just to really get that marketing suite that you may need to advertise a property as good as possible. So we provide photo retouching on top to deliver back into your account. Yeah.
Awesome. So to just before we say bye, I think I'd just like to point out that there are 3 services that Captured offers where you don't need a subscription: floor plans, photo retouching, Matterport Workshop Assistant. You can sign up for one of 4 different subscription tiers. The first one is totally free. And actually has a lot of features and will be free forever. And then there's 3 other monthly subscriptions that we've barely have touched some of the services that are actually available in the subscription tier. So you can think of I think you said it at the beginning of the show. Maybe you could finish up here by kind of summarizing, because it's like there's an amazing number of services that Capture offers, either the a la carte services or the services that are available through subscription. So I'm a Matterport service provider. How do you describe your service to me in 30 seconds?
Sure. So my 30-second elevator pitch for Matterport service providers who haven't tried Captured yet is we're essentially an all-in-one platform that's been built specifically to service Matterport users. And so there's probably two different sections. One is the overlay of the tours. So we're providing overlay features, media embed, spatial audio, virtual staging, all of that stuff that's anything to do with the tour. And then we also provide a suite of services to accompany your Matterport tour. So that could be high quality floor plans and site plans, photo retouching, or the Matterport Workshop Assistant, where we can extract all those photos for you. So it's essentially a one-stop shop for your Matterport tours. One thing that I will mention as well is a lot of different tiers. From our creator subscription and upwards, we also provide white labeling included within that cost. And so it's a really cost-effective way to white label your tours. We can completely remove Captured, remove Matterport, obviously, from that URL, and we can integrate your business name into there. So that's a really valuable feature as well that a lot of people are finding useful and very cost-effective. So That's probably been more than 30 seconds, but if you haven't tried Captured yet, give it a go. You won't be disappointed. And yeah, I'm always here to help and answer any questions.
Alex, I'm amazed that you could even do it in 30 seconds because I think it's possible we could actually do another hour if we wanted to talk about the robust level of other services that Captured offers. It's really quite extensive. Alex, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great talking to you. And yeah, looking forward to seeing some new Captured signups coming through and testing out what we have to offer.
We've been visiting with Captured product owner Alex Hitchcock. For Alex in Australia, I'm Dan in the United States, and you've been watching WGAN TV live at 5.
Thanks, everyone.